Won't you take me home? Get me with your flight. We can
Hey guys, and welcome to another video. So today's topic, I think it's going to be beneficial for everybody, and one that the sooner that you can grasp the importance of it, the better off you're going to be. And I'm going to start off with the saying that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is starting today. So that kind of leads into this whole topic of the always saving for a rainy day. And by now everybody probably knows what that means. So if we look at it in more in more financial terms, it's having kind of like a nest egg in case you have a big unexpected emergency, a big expense comes up, or you get laid off from your job, so you have some kind of money to hold you over for a few months until you can find something else. So they typically recommend anywhere between 3 to 6 months of basically essential needs. So money that we need for your rent, utility bills, and then food. So you should have 3 to 6 months. I would probably lean more towards 6 months to a year, because as we all know, what just happened, what's currently happening, you never know, and nothing's ever guaranteed. So I would say if you have 6 to 12 months, 6 months to a year, that's should be good, but you never know. But the more you can save, and you need to have this saved before you start to think of any investments. So while I preach, I'm a big guy, I'm big into investments and investing in items that will make you more money, cash flow, appreciate over time for the long term. You definitely need to still have 6 months to a year in terms of cash available in case one of the things that I just mentioned happens. So that's what the rainy day fund is for in terms of finances. And it's pretty easy to grasp, but people have a hard time saving money. People struggle with it. I don't know the exact statistics, but something like the average American, they can't afford like a $400 or $500 unexpected bill, or they barely have like $1,000 in savings. We're not even talking about retirement savings. We're just talking about immediate savings for like a rainy day fund, unexpected. So it just shows you that either people are not thinking about it, or they literally can't save because of the bills that they already have, all the debt that they may be in, and then bad spending habits. So that's what the rainy day fund is for in terms of finance. And again, as soon as you can, set aside $100, $200, $300 a month. Calculate how much you need in terms of what your monthly expenses are, and make sure at least 3 months, but get it to where you can have it for 6 months to a year. So the back of your mind, you can sleep a little bit better at night should anything crazy happens. And as we just saw with the current situation, you never know, and that's why this needs to be available for you, because sometimes unexpected things happen at when you're least expecting it, or at the worst time. So have it saved, start now. And or if you don't have a job yet, once you start working and after you have all your essentials paid off, put some money aside for the rainy day fund. So typically the rainy day fund is more of like, it's used for finance, but I like to also use it in other aspects of life in which I think are vital. So rainy day fund, I know this is going to sound weird, but kind of bear with me. But in terms of, let's say, friends, or your dating life, or let's say your career, so don't get so hooked, or don't rely on just one person or maybe one career, and I preach, do the best job that you can. Make sure that, you're performing your job, doing everything great. But always be ready to make an adjustment if the time calls for it. Whether you get laid off, or let's say you're not feeling it, or you want to try something else. Because when let's say you start applying for jobs, you're going to realize that it's not fun, that, I should have thought about this. Excuse me. I should have thought about this, or at least begun the process a long time ago, instead of just doing it all of a sudden right now. So the rainy day fund, in terms of like what these other aspects I'm talking about, is that, do the best that you can at whatever it is that you're doing, but always be prepared to make that change and make that adjustment. And if needed, switch off, and, you're on to the next thing. And you have, you're open to other kind of leads, and you're open to, other ideas. So again, career opportunities is, easy one to think of. Not saying that you need to be like, scheduling interviews or something every week. You can if you want, but always be looking, and always just, open and listen to the idea, because sometimes it's the best to get a job when you already have a job. And sometimes it's always probably the hardest. And those of you can probably, if you're maybe in the situation, sometimes it's the hardest when you need a job, and sometimes the easiest when you already have a job, because you're not as, that desperation is not there, or you're not as stressed. You can kind of, day by day, week by week, kind of look here and there and see if there's any opportunities that that you might want to listen to. Another thing when it comes to dating, so when you're dating someone, things, sometimes they, most times, hopefully they start off good, but then they kind of, drag, and, you kind of hit some bumps in the road. Always, like I said with the jobs, be open to, meeting other people, or be meeting other people, because, you're not exclusive, you're just dating. So always be, if you see other girls, talk to them, approach them, get their numbers, always be talking to a lot of people. And that's where this abundance comes in, and that's what ties into the rainy day. So like, for example, if you're dating a girl and things don't work out, or she dumped you, ghosted you, or you decide not to see her anymore, then you don't have to like be like, all right, well, now I have to meet other. No, if you've been talking to other people at the same time, then that should be much more of an easier transition, and you're not going to be as clingy, you're not going to be as maybe emotionally invested, because you have like these other potential leads and other potential people you can start dating. So, and then same thing with your friends. I mean, because as we get older, friends are gonna, drift away naturally. Not saying, it's good or bad reasons, but people move, or people get, more responsibilities, people marry, people have kids, they get tied into their careers. So, while on the surface on Facebook or in your phone book, your friends, you're gonna find yourself, all right, well, I'm not really seeing this person anymore. And if you're more of an extrovert, and you're more of that social type of person where you like to hang out with people, from time to time or all the time, then try to maybe once a week or a couple times every 2 weeks or whatever, go to social events, networking events. Again, don't go in it with like a mission, because then it comes off as, you can feel that vibe from people, that kind of desperation. No, just go open, whatever happens. And you never know, and then that's how you can maybe make new acquaintances. So again, keep doing it, instead of always trying to hit the people up if they're always shooting you back a reply that they never have time to hang out. So that's what, in this video. I hope it made sense. I'm just, this is something that I've been kind of experiencing in terms of the last few years, especially being in the professional role, because it's a lot different than being a student in college. So it's an adjustment. I'm not saying it's better or worse. It just depends on the type of person you are and the type of life that you want to live. So again, I hope that it kind of made sense while you're listening to it. Leave your feedback down below and let me know like what you think of it, and if you maybe want to start applying this to your everyday life, because again, you won't be so emotionally tied into things or people. Not saying that you need to be like a robot, but this is life. Things happen, people move on, or people are going to separate, and they're not going to have time for each other, or you have to begin another chapter. So this is a great way to kind of start thinking that and acting upon it. So guys, with that, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you can please like and subscribe, that would mean so much to me. And if you found it of any value, please pass it along and share it to anyone who may need to hear this, and if you found it useful. So again, everyone, thanks again for watching the video, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.